Well, we are going to get this show on the road. We have a new lifter, Rachel Davis, that is here. That is hopefully the newest lifter at Muscle Driver USA. What do you think, Rachel?
Yes, sir. I'm here to stay.
How do you like it so far?
It's amazing. I've been trying to keep my cool, be chill, but I'm really excited. It's gorgeous. The equipment's gorgeous.
Well, especially those Pendlay bars.
Yes, sir.
Well, and the plates, the bumpers are pretty great too. I mean, our bars and plates are good, but the whole training room is really, really good. It's hard to forget where we started. I mean, that wasn't this nice 2 years ago. Wasn't near this nice. We were actually training in a warehouse for a while, but slowly over the last year and a half, things have slowly come together. And I would say that the training room, the facilities are getting better as we go. And they're better this month than they were last month.
Has the team grown in the past year?
Yeah, the team has grown, but there's definitely been some ups and downs. I mean, we've had more lifters than we do now previously. We actually lost a couple lifters here recently. We are, as you know, we are trying to bring on multiple new lifters. So our goal is to basically have 20 lifters.
Oh, really?
We're a little ways away from that. I think we have 12 now.
Okay.
Well, that's news. 20 lifters. That'd be a huge team.
Well, we're moving towards that. Right now our main focus is on the women's team. So we're actively recruiting multiple girls. We have you coming out this week. We have a couple of other girls coming out next week. We have several more that have been talking to us and are close to making a decision. We also have Jared Fleming, who is coming next week. He's basically our brightest spot on the men's team. I think he'll be right behind, guys like James Tatum and Travis Cooper. Definitely in the mix when it comes to the world team, Olympic team, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, that's Travis Cooper.
Okay, I was just making sure.
Yeah, she pointed at Travis as if unsure that was actually the Travis Cooper that we've been mentioning.
Yeah, a lot of T names on the team.
He is Travis Cooper. Anyway, so that's what's going on. So we're recruiting lifters and the team's getting bigger, and
it's exciting.
Good things are happening.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from and what weight class are you in?
So I'm a super. I'm 75 kilo plus. I'm from Provo, Utah, good old P-town. So that's where I was going to school. My dad lives in Washington State, though, so that's kind of those are my roots. My home's in Provo. That's where my family is. But I've lived in many places. So I've never been out south, out east, so this is very new.
Now, you said that how you got into weightlifting is actually through the sheriff, Caleb Whitman.
The sheriff, yeah. Yeah, I was just 17 years old. I wanted to get healthy. I hired a personal trainer, and the person set me up with this blonde, solemn man named Caleb at good old Gold's Gym right down the street from my house.
That's a great description. And, a blonde, solemn man.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure I knew him about 6 months, and then he smiled. And so, but no, I respect Caleb a lot. I really look up to him. Yeah, so I worked with him for about a year and a half at Gold's. I mean, we just did like bench press and squat. We did shoulder stuff. I mean, nothing Olympic style. And then after about a year and a half, I think he got into it, and then he invited me to come train with him at a little warehouse. And yeah, did that for a couple months, and then he introduced me to another coach, and I've been doing that for about 3 years. So yeah, Caleb started it all for me.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a small world. I had no idea. Caleb had mentioned that he knew you. I didn't realize he was the one who was your first experience ever in weight training in general, so that's pretty cool. I honestly didn't know that he did personal training at Gold's Gym ever, so.
We learn something every day. Huh. Well, that was an uncomfortable silence. Well, we gotta have something else to talk about here. It's a problem with James Tatum not in the room, because he tends to fill some of those silences. Which I'm not good at filling. And Travis obviously isn't.
Well, geez. Well, anyways, so you're in the game. You've moved down here. You got a place to stay and all that stuff. And things are going good. So you had your first training session this morning. Now, how often were you training out in Utah?
So I was training 6 days a week. About 2 hours a day. Some days that my body hurt, I just roll out and then call that good. But yeah, I mean, 6 days a week. I've never done 2 a days, so that'll be new. But
you get used to it fairly quickly, I think. I think it's funny how it's kind of all worked out since you got here this morning.
Yes,
very early this morning.
Early.
You took off yesterday.
Yep.
And got here this morning. And you've already gotten together with a family from your church that you're staying a couple days with, and you've already found an apartment. A possible apartment anyway, at least a possibility. And it's
going to be like a room for rent, so it won't be like an apartment.
Yeah, but it's close. It's within just a couple miles.
Yeah.
So that's a good starting place.
Things are falling into place. I'm super grateful for that.
Yeah. There's a lot of team members here, so it seems like the probability of finding somebody to rent a room with and to get an apartment with is pretty high. So just having a room to rent, at first is great because obviously you'll move on from there.
Well, especially with more people moving down on the team. That'll be nice. Hopefully we'll get a few people that they can move in with each other and help save everyone some money. So this morning, now, Don was working with you on your technique. So you said that he kind of changed your perception a little bit on
it felt like a totally different lift, honestly. Like we widened my stance. Things like moving my elbows, kind of rotating those forward. I'd never been told that that's how to snatch. Keeping my chest up. It felt very different. It felt a lot smoother, not so kind of jerky, and not so unstable coming down.
Well, it looked to me like one of the things you were doing is you're relying too much on your hips. So it's almost like it was a hip thrust and not like a smooth transition or something. But, as Don mentioned to a couple of our other lifters, you basically got done in about an hour what has taken several other people like months to accomplish. So it seemed like you took to new and better technique very, very quickly. And that's
Don
good.
was stroking my ego. I appreciated that.
Well, I mean, you're not a complete beginner. I mean, you've been doing this for 3 years, and what are your best snatch and clean and jerk?
I've snatched 94 kilos, and I've clean jerked 116.
Those are pretty decent numbers.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So it's not like you're just starting out and you're snatching 50 kilos, like, so being able to change your technique when you already have those kind of numbers, that's really important. So that was cool. And now it's funny that Glenn, you would say that she was relying on her hips too much, because obviously when we teach her progression, we kind of talk about it. The movement hinges at the hip. So could you elaborate on what you mean by that and how we're trying to change that?
Well, just that as she as she basically extends her hips, If she extends her hips and finishes, she gets the bar like really going in a jerky manner. Like the bar yanks upward and doesn't like travel smooth back through the pull. She needs to have the bar be smoother and finish smoother, basically, is what I'm trying to say, I guess. And, that tends to come with lengthening the leg drive. As you lengthen the leg drive so that the legs, it's basically a smoother pull and not so jerky.
It also felt that movement, just doing it a couple times, how much more consistent. It felt like, oh, this is how a snatch should feel every time. Because before, I was always so inconsistent. I
think it lets you be more consistent, and you also probably will end up feeling your legs more, your thighs more. You'll end up probably getting sore in your thighs for, I wouldn't say the first time, but you'll get sore in a different way because you're using your thighs more and not just using your hips.
Well, I guess kind of like what I saw is that whether she was thinking about it or not, she was kind of pushing her hips forward a little bit. And so occasionally that bar was looping around instead of driving the hips up or, that standing up forcefully motion. So once we straighten out that hip drive in the correct path, there's obviously going to be a lot of power. It's going to be more consistent. And she's going to lift more weight. And with her already snatching close to 100 kilos, once you add more weight to that, you're looking at someone who's very competitive right off the bat. So.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking. I mean, she's not she's no slouch now. You know, you put enough kilos on the bar above what she's already doing, and that's extremely competitive.
Thank you.
So I'm definitely glad to have her as a possible lifter.
James Tatum and Deacon.
What's up?
Deacon is James's business partner. They own Sisu Strength and Conditioning together. And he's a funny guy, so hopefully we can get him on here and tell some jokes. But I guess kind of before we get into that, Glenn, you've stopped dipping. You're now on Altoids.
Yeah. As everybody, I'll kind of reiterate the whole story. I mean, I dipped for years and years and years, probably the better part of 20 years.
Could you define dipping?
Like chewing tobacco.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, chewing tobacco. Which I did for a long time, like the better part of 20 years. Mm-hmm. Started when I started dipping when I was like 13 or 14, and kind of quit for a while and did it again, quit for a while, did it again. And then by the time I was in my early 20s, I was doing it pretty much full time up until I was 40 something. Mm-hmm. And so it was really hard to quit. And they say dipping's harder to quit than cigarettes anyway, but it was really hard for me to quit. But you know, after I had the health problems and everything, I decided I had to quit, you know. So I quit. It took me about 2 months, maybe even 3 months, of working at it and slowly backing down, you know, the dose, I guess. Going from dipping a whole bunch to slowly less and less and less and less until, you know, about 3.5 weeks ago, I took my last dip. And since then, I have tried many different things to cut the craving. One is like a fake tobacco. It's like no tobacco, no nicotine, but it like gives you something to put in your mouth to cure the nervous cravings. Thank you.
High five going on.
And I've, you know, like Travis said, you know, I've sucked on some Altoids or something just to have something in my mouth. 'Cause that helps. But yeah, it's been good, and my blood pressure is going down, and that was one of the big reasons why I quit. And so, feel good.
I was just glad she asked to clarify, because with Glenn's guns, I wasn't sure if we were talking about just lots of dips on the bars or dipping. So I was
started doing dips when I was 13. It's been a real problem.
There we go. Joke number 1. We're getting off to a good start. Yeah. So Deacon, what you on Sisu Strength and Conditioning / CrossFit Smithfield out there in Smithfield. Now, what are you guys doing out there? I know you brought some lifters with you today.
Yeah, we brought a kid, Patrick Jacobs, up today just to kind of let him see what's going on up here and just the variety and levels that you see from gyms to gym, like coming from where he's plays college football and he's in a strength and conditioning program where they mostly focus on power cleans, and you have strong guys, but to come up here and to see just the different atmosphere, and he's really interested in the Olympic lifting, so it was just a chance to get him up here around other lifters and see kind of where he needs to go and where he needs to work on things and go from there.
Is it a common theme in CrossFit that most people can power clean and power snatch similar to what they can full clean?
I don't know if that's common. I know that a lot of CrossFitters, their front squat tends to be the limiting factor for a lot of them. I wouldn't say that's, you know, it's not everyone, but for a lot of them. So I think that would make what they can power to be the limiting factor. I'm sure a good many of them are that way.
Yeah, I would go out on a limb to even say that it was common from our experience with the gyms and seeing other lifters from other gyms come up to have the opportunity to train with James, and just know that we have a different way of approaching the lifts, so that when they come up where they've just gone through the manner of just, all right, get that bar up as fast as you can, and so they don't understand the idea of pulling under the bar. They're still stuck with the idea of they got to pull it as high as they can. So then they don't understand when they're trying to pull under. They never practice that unless it's something they have to do. So then all of a sudden they've reached a max with power clean. Like, oh, well, now I'm going to try to pull under the bar. And then I don't understand why I can't do that, because they don't practice it at all. So it's just a matter of taking the time to put into the effort, where a lot of CrossFit gyms, you know, you just want to go and you get in that passion and you're go, versus really taking the time to to dive into the Olympic lifts and spend effort on learning them.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that we talk about at seminars that Glenn talks about a lot is if the bar's in the wrong position, you have to pull longer. You know, it's not pushing you under the weight, so you kind of have to use your arms to continue to pull yourself back into position because you've made an error. But if that bar's in the right spot, it really almost pushes you under the bar. So once you feel it the first time, kind of like what you were talking about, how, you know, you hit that first snatch with good technique and you're like, wow, this is what it should feel like every time. It's kind of an addictive feeling. Once you have that first lift, you're always chasing that high, that the way that perfect rep felt. And it's like that forever because, you know, no matter how good you get, you can always improve your technique. Nobody has perfect technique. So
yeah, but there definitely is a line you cross of being able to power clean, let's say 250 pounds, but yet only clean 220 pounds. You know, and there's definitely a line when you can first reliably clean more than you can power clean. You know, that's definitely something that that's something that has to be achieved. Yeah. But at first it doesn't seem possible. You know, that I even myself, when I was, you know, like 17, you know, I can remember, you know, being able to clean like 250 pounds, or power clean 250 pounds. And I thought, you know, I was trying to mentally think that, well, I could clean that if I could just get under it. And because you're basically attempting to keep pulling on the bar forever, it's just a mental disconnect that you're not going under the bar. And you don't realize that you can't go under as long as you're still pulling. You know, so there's a little mental disconnect there, and definitely something you have to mentally overcome before you can physically overcome it. And I think there's a lot of CrossFitters are basically dealing with that.
Yeah. And I think sometimes like for me, if I'm strong enough to power something, I want to power it. And kind of perfecting the full movements takes a lot of practice at lighter
that's something that I argue about a little bit with Don McCauley, which is our other coach here. You know, I think Don is the type, I mean, I don't think there's a wrong or right in this discussion, but he's of an opinion that basically as long as you can power it, you probably should power it and catch it as high as possible. And I tend to think that for a lot of lifters and a lot of the lifts, they should be using their actual competition form, because that's what you're going to use in competition. Once it gets heavy enough, that's what you're going to do. So you need to practice it. I think that sometimes that works really great for people to power as long as you can, and other people it works much better to practice the actual competition form. But I think everybody has to figure out what's going to work best for them. But there's definitely disagreements on that and different ways to approach
it.
Well,
you don't believe in teaching beginners the power snatch and power clean, so you teach them as soon as you know they've done like 5 reps with the bar. At a seminar, we'll have people go into the full squat, and so if someone lifts for like 6 months and they never do a power snatch power clean, they're always going to have a higher max with squat snatch and squat clean. And so I think it's great to teach beginners to only squat snatch and squat clean, even though CrossFitters are definitely going to have power cleans and metcons, so you can't really avoid it. But I try to separate their mindset when they come to the weightlifting class versus the metcon. I'm like, this is weightlifting class. We're going to teach you how to lift the most weight possible. This is not for speed today. You know, take your 2 minutes rest between sets, and we're going to lift into the squat every single time.
A good idea. Yeah, definitely. I think that works best. You know, I've coached a fair number of people, and I think that everything, or it doesn't work for everybody, but a big majority of people, as long as you do the lifts correctly, right from the start, they're going to have better luck. You know.
Well, that's how I started out. As I did all power cleans and power snatches until the weight was heavy enough to just do the full snatch or full clean. And once I moved here, that was one of the first things that we changed was start catching everything, even the lighter weights down below. And that's when I started developing a consistent technique. Before that, I would be all over the place. I'd be running forward with 110, dodging squat racks and all that. But once I kind of got a consistent technique, even with, 70 kilos, it started,
Clicking.
That's a good word.
Well, James,
consistency.
I think it was like after 2 months of being here, Glenn posted on his Facebook, he said, what should James Tatum's superhero name be? And someone said it should be a 100-meter snatch. Yeah. Because you were the best at snatching the weight and then running 100 meters with it.
I don't remember that, but I trust you, but I don't remember it. But yeah, James used to be quite infamous, I guess is the correct word, for running across the room with the barbell.
Didn't the snatch you just made? Like
I was going to say, this
pretty
just happened with
near
like
the edge
152,
there.
I think, on his snatch last weekend.
You know what's crazy about James is that back in the day when he was doing these power snatches, he's one of the only people that I ever saw. Like, you can look at the tryout video from the very first muscle driver tryout. James, his warm-ups would look really crazy. His first 2 attempts on the platform would look crazy. And then it's like all of a sudden it was perfect technique at the top weight. And so for some reason he's always like had very good technique at the heaviest weights, which, don't try that at home because most people, that's not the case. But yeah, when James moved here, like he could not snatch 110 with perfect technique. But when the weight got to like 135, he could. It was amazing, really. Like you would look at the workout and you'd be like, why is he putting 135 on the bar? There's no freaking way he's going to make it. And then he would do it with perfect technique. So when he moved here now, like the biggest difference in James's training is being able to snatch 110, 115, 120, those kind of weights with perfect technique.
Just consistency.
Yeah, which is carried over a lot, obviously. I mean, he's made the most progress in the past 2 years of like anyone. So, but I thought it was crazy. If you look back at some of those videos, it's like,
I wish that I had. I mean, I don't even have all the video that we used to have. I mean, I've changed computers, lost computers, whatever, but I used to have a ton of just videos from just practices that I have somehow been lost.
Well, most of them are on YouTube now.
Okay, yeah, a lot of them are on YouTube, but a lot of them aren't. A lot of them are just hours and hours of videos and practices. But I think it would be funny if we could find a bunch of videos of like James's first year, like the first 6 months after he came to Muscle Driver, and like run a montage of all those snatches because they would be freaking hilarious.
Well, we were going to put it to the rap song "Walk It Out," and we just never did it. It would have been a great video. I mean, if you want YouTube hits, that's another great video to do.
And he's gonna sing the country version of "Walk It Out," right?
Yes, on the podcast after we release that video, he's gonna do a country version of that song.
Didn't we do that at some point? James did a country version of some song.
James did I forget what it was. It was like
Lil Wayne song or something.
Yeah, like Good Cushion Alcohol or something.
Yeah, that was it. That was
James singing super country. Speaking of, I watched The Voice, so whatever. You can call me gay, but I love that show. And Jake Worthington sang Waylon Jennings' "Good Old Boys."
Waylon Jennings.
Yeah. And,
not Waylon Jennings.
Well,
get it right, Travis.
Whatever. The Dukes of Hazzard song, it was badass. I was giving you something that I thought you would think was cool, so look it up on YouTube.
Cool. I think that's cool. Yeah, it's been a long time since I heard a Waylon Jennings song on like a.
And it was good. So he made it to the finals with that song, and it was good. So I felt extremely American listening to that song.
Well, you should have. That's a very American song.
America.
Very American.
All right. So anyways.
And Waylon Jennings is probably the best recording artist of our time.
Well,
certainly better than
we can't
Lil
go
Wayne.
that far.
I think there's a new time now from Waylon Jennings.
I don't think so, James. I don't think so.
So
we're not all stuck back in the Bonanza age.
Bonanza.
Well, this is not the Bonanza age.
Well, no, not anymore. It's already passed.
Whatever. Well, let's not argue too hard about music because I don't think our tastes are all that different.
Oh no, I like Waylon Jennings.
Good.
What is your favorite musician?
I like Ed Sheeran. That's kind of Ed Sheeran.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of chick music.
Chick music.
Well, it can't be good then. Can't be good.
He's got a pretty voice. He's a ginger, so of course I like it.
Can't go wrong with that. By the way, we have a multitude of gingers.
A multitude as in 3.
At Muscle Driver today.
They're taking over.
Taking over.
Yep. So we got the head ginger is Becca. She is grandfathered into that position, so.
But you're even more ginger than Becca.
I am. But I have less hair.
Your hair is redder than Becca, though.
Eventually,
Definitely.
we might have a fight, so keep a lookout on the videos to see who is the head ginger of the gym. I think today Deacon might win. He has a pretty big reach. He's a tall guy. So
He's got a long beard.
The beard helps absorb blows too, so it's kind of like wearing an extra face mask. It helps in the.
Oh, that's how Kimbo Slice made it in the UFC. It was just his beard. It wasn't anything else.
Well, yeah, because he sucked. Like, he got knocked out every fight that he was in the UFC, right? I mean,
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But he did have
a lot of
beard.
hype. He was the MMA YouTube phenom, right?
Yeah.
Backyard
Just,
brawls.
Yeah. So, you don't win championships on YouTube, I guess, is what all the old school coaches are saying now.
I've heard weightlifting coaches say the same thing.
That's what I'm saying, the old school weightlifting coaches, but
Speaking of YouTube, I don't know if this has come up yet, but Alex Lee's been putting up his videos. I guess he's going down to 69.
yeah, he's pretty much been 69 the whole time.
Did 160 clean front squat and jerk.
Yeah.
Not bad.
He's been doing 170, so that'll be interesting. I mean, that's another big thing coming out, just like Norick deciding to lift for the USA, Alex Lee coming back. So, yeah, competition is going to be awesome this year. And, I mean, goodness, hopefully we can score those team points. I think it's going to, like, make people really train harder.
Well, I hope so. I mean, yeah. It's funny, on certain weight classes, the USA is getting kind of stacked. 94 obviously is one of them. With Kendrick and Norick and Jared Fleming. I mean, that's some good lifters.
Who else is in there? D'Angelo?
D'Angelo?
D'Angelo Osorio, Colin Burns.
Do we have a 94 here?
No.
Matt Bergeron.
Matt Bergeron, but I wouldn't put him in the quite the same category as those other ones. We're talking about people that are like Olympic team hopefuls, and Matt's, he's a good lifter, he's a nice guy, but he's not quite at that level yet. But
He's getting there. He's newer. Matt's been doing a lot better, but yeah, the 94 just has so many people at like a 350 kilo total.
and it hasn't Colin Burns, is he an 85?
No, he moved up.
He moved up.
But he was an 85 last year, and then he moved up, and yeah, he's a phenomenal snatcher. He's not too shabby in the clean and jerk anymore. He's been doing 190 plus recently. I think the weight gain definitely helped his legs. But yeah, 60 plus snatcher. So I mean, who knows what's going to happen in nationals? Very exciting. So we started the podcast a little late today, so we need to get to training. You guys got any cool things to say before we get out of here?
I have nothing cool to say. Nothing at all.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm surprised that James doesn't have anything cool to say. He should have something cool to say.
I know. I'm trying to think. Maybe come back to me. I'll pass right now.
All right, pass.
I don't know. I'm kind of disappointed. Glenn was talking you up like you're all witty and funny. So I was expecting
tell him
something.
Yeah.
Well,
But the pressure's on now.
I know. I ain't got nothing.
We're going to have to end this, what I think.
Wow.
Well, Deacon, you got a good joke to end it on? Good one-liner or something?
Nothing that my wife wouldn't get pissed about me saying on.
Oh, well,
the
those are
podcast,
the fun ones,
so-
man. Those are the fun ones.
Yeah.
All right, well, go check out
That's
Sisu
a
Strength
story
and
for another
Conditioning.
time.
CrossFit Smithfield, James and Deacon do their thing up there. So obviously not a shabby weightlifting program going on. There's some CrossFit, good stuff, a lot of strength and conditioning. And yeah, we're excited to have Rachel Davis. So look out for the videos. She's our new super, and we've never had a female super before, so we're really excited to take her lifts to the next level. So thanks for being on the show, guys.
Yeah, thanks.